XRP holders, it has begun. Please read the disclaimer. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. I hope you appreciated my dramatic opening. But yes, the US has now struck Iran for the first time since President Trump announced the initial ceasefire. And of course, markets did not like that. We even have seen the South Korean stock market drop significantly and hit a circuit breaker. And we know how much the South Koreans affect what's happening with XRP and what's happening with the crypto market. We'll talk about what happened there in Iran. Is this the beginning? Has it begun? Are we going back to full-scale war, or is this only going to be a kind of I hit you, you hit me kind of thing, and it's not going to get into a full-scale thing. We'll talk about that, and I'll give you my opinions. We'll look at the current price of XRP and try to figure out where XRP is going from here. Now, I'm a simple man. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button and let's get into it. So XRP is currently sitting at $1.11, down 2% on the day. You can see XRP did break through the support level just about an hour or so ago, actually 3 hours ago. And now the next support level would be that 109 level. It's interesting that XRP is dropping stronger than Bitcoin and Ethereum that are holding okay. But again, if we look at the 1 month here, Ethereum is down 31% and XRP is down only 24%. Bitcoin down 25%, Solana down 33%. So we've talked about this, how recently, sometimes when the markets kind of start pulling back or they start going up, the top four kind of have this tendency to find each other, right? So if one has been a little bit better, suddenly it drops a little bit more, and then suddenly it pops up, and then the others kind of creep back. And so this is what we're seeing right now. It's, it could be some shenanigans that's happening by a trading firm, right? It wouldn't surprise me after what we heard, for example, what FTX was doing and other shenanigans like that. It wouldn't surprise me if there's someone that is trying to level things out and seeing opportunities in the top four and trying to move them in a specific situation. It also could be because of liquidations and things like that. Maybe someone got a little bit overzealous today because we have this situation in Iran, which we'll get to in just a second, and it's CPI Day. Happy CPI Day to all that celebrate. So CPI comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, so you won't have to wait a long time until we know what the CPI is. And again, if it is higher than expected, and the U.S. continue this campaign with Iran. Right now, we see here breaking U.S. strikes have now hit 2 drinking water tanks in Sirik, southern Iran, cutting off all drinking water to the district. Iran has warned 2 hours ago it will immediately replace all regional Gulf energy infrastructure under continuous missile fire. And with the U.S. attack, water distillation infrastructure, which the Gulf depends on for over 90%, would specifically become major targets. So President Trump said that he could not sit on his hands after the Apache helicopter was shot down, and he came back with these attacks. It's nothing too aggressive, but it's just showing, hey, if you're going to be doing shenanigans, we're going to strike back. And right now, from what I'm seeing, things haven't yet kicked off, but things could. And what we're going to be watching here today is, okay, if CPI is higher than expected and oil pops, right? So if the conflict starts up again, oil could pop. And then you have a situation where inflation is high and oil is coming up. That means that potentially inflation could continue to be higher for longer. That could freak out the market, right? But right now, interestingly, oil is not up. It's actually still at 88. So the market is looking at this and saying, "Ooh, wait a second, maybe, we're not, this is just something small," because if President Trump had wanted to do something aggressive, he would have gone full force. And it's just, like a, hey, just know that we can still attack you if we need to, right? They don't have any defense mechanisms really. And interesting, we saw as the headlines came out about the whole situation, right? We saw silver drop down from 69 to 65, and silver is at its lowest point since that kind of sell off in March. And had these 2 weeks, but they bounced off. But silver, precious metals are coming down. Gold back to 4,200. Gold is at its lowest point since back in December. Right? If you take out this one day with the big wick, it's back to where it was in December. So interesting. The precious metal market is telling us that actually when precious metals, when gold, silver are going up, it's usually a run for a safe haven because of uncertainty, because of geopolitical conflict. Right now, it's pulling out of there. So it means that investors are thinking that things are going to be all right, and that eventually we're going to get a deal here. And maybe the market is looking at this and saying, okay, we didn't get a full scale thing, even though Israel attacked and Iran attacked and Israel retaliated, and it didn't bring back the full scale thing, and US attacked and it didn't bring back the full scale thing. So maybe that's not going to happen. And this is just a reminder for the Iranians, and now higher probability that the Iranians will come to the table and actually compromise. We'll see. Right now, though, the crypto fear and greed index fell back down to 9. So the market is still fearful. And you can see as we go into CPI and the uncertainty, it makes sense, right? As always, I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know how the market is going to play out. We talked about this. I didn't know if this was the bottom. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But you can always take advantage of pullbacks or days like today. And it's very risky, but maybe you're thinking long term. Maybe you're thinking medium term. If you're interested, our partner BTCC will give you the opportunity to do so. BTCC is my go-to leverage trading platform. They have been a partner of the channel for a long time. I know the people there. I've met them physically. So that's a big plus for me when dealing with any exchange. If you sign up now, you get that 10% deposit bonus. But really, what helps out is if you use my link, I get a commission, and then it helps the channel continue to truck on or choo-choo on, ride on. Even when things are not the best, we always have that as a back. So if you do use my link, again, it's an affiliate link and I will get a commission. So thank you for that. But please, please, please trade responsibly. Okay. Let's get back to the news. We talked about the South Korean market selling off there, but I want to talk a little bit about Clarity Act. So right now, a Democratic source familiar with the bipartisan meeting between the Senate lawmakers today describes ethics negotiation as rocky, citing what they characterized as an about face by GOP members and the White House on an agreement they said had previously been reached ahead of the Senate Banking Committee markup last month. That agreement, she's been told, originally included a provision that would have allowed State Attorney General to sue the Department of Justice for failing to enforce certain ethic provisions. The GOP sources responded by saying that concerns were later raised by senators not involved in the ethic discussions about allowing state attorney generals to bring such action against federal officials, including members of Congress. So some of the senators that were not on that committee are now raising alarms about that. So this could be very interesting to see because there has been talk about what came out of the Senate Banking Committee markup. And if we want to have 60 votes at least, then all the GOP representatives and some of the Democrat representatives need to vote on the bill. And if they don't like it, then the probabilities of it going through go down. But I think that they will squeeze and they will change. And will it be the best that it can be? No, because like the Iranians in the US, there needs to be compromise. Same thing here with the bill. When you have so many interests and so many politicians trying to get something done, there's always going to be someone that has an interest this way, an interest that way, someone that is a little bit more pro this, a little bit more anti that. And then, things get watered down and things get mushed. And in the end, something comes out, right? That's just how it is. But it will be very interesting. Now, people keep talking about this, the tax proposals. U.S. crypto tax proposals face more scrutiny. House lawmakers raised concern over several draft crypto tax measures, suggesting significant work remains before bipartisan agreement is reached. Democrats' major concern is whether deferred taxation of mined digital assets could be exploited by mining companies. So right now, that's something that is, a concern for politicians, for Democrats. And again, the taxation is very, very important. We've talked about that. There's that rumor going around by specific Twitter accounts that are very popular on Twitter that have lots of engagement, talking about, the American-made crypto maybe being, no taxes and things like that. It's not, just rumors. The same rumor came out back when President Trump won the election, and now it's because they're talking about taxes again. It's okay to bring it up again, but nobody has talked about this in the government. It's just internet rumors until we get something concrete from the president or from his people about this. It's not worth mentioning it again. So I just wanted to because I'm thinking that many of you have seen those tweets. Just know that it's just rumors and there's no really water behind it or. I don't know. I'm thinking about the similar saying in English, but I can't find it now. So we'll see what happens with the taxes. Japan's 7 trillion banking giant to jointly issue stablecoins by 2027. Japan's three largest banks, Mitsubishi, UFJ, Sumitomo, Mitsui, and Mizuho, managing more than 7 trillion in assets, will jointly launch stablecoins by March 2027, according to Reuters. Backed by Japan's financial service agency, the move brings trillions of dollars in traditional banking power onto blockchain rails. We'll see this for more and more countries, but we know that Japan has made it a very big shift to go digital and to go, blockchain. Interestingly, I was in Japan back in 2019, and then, so that's what, 7 years ago. Then they were telling me that Japan was still a very cash-based society, even though was so advanced technological wise. They were still kind of in the dark ages, just from payment situation. And now, actually, I'm watching these YouTubers go from the bottom of Japan to the top of Japan without any smartphones. They're doing like a race, and they're trying to do it without smartphones, right? So now it's kind of different. And when they come to pay cash, people are like, "Oh, cash." It seems that they have totally flipped, like, and young people only use, of course, digital payments. So things are shifting there. Things are shifting here, and I can see that from that series. But it's very interesting, how countries and how payments and how things have changed over the past few years. Like I almost never go out with a wallet anymore. I just pay with my phone, and things, shift and things change, going forward. Now let's talk about the SpaceX situation and if this could be a potential top here. But before that, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. So Tom Lee says 7 trillion on sidelines, SpaceX IPO won't mark the market top. Lee believes demand for the SpaceX IPO is already overwhelming available shares with huge capital waiting on the sidelines. History shows that the SpaceX IPO should not actually mark the market top. It actually rare a big IPO marks the top. So again, this could be a top, and this could be a flow of money. Listen, if a lot of money comes in, and we've talked about how the theory is that a lot of money has left the crypto market because it was boring and nothing was happening, and people got restless, and they said, "Oh, SpaceX IPO is coming up. Let me get ready for that." And if the IPO ends up, being a little bit of a down, letdown, let's say it pops up on the first day and then it sells off the days after, which sometimes happen. You can have a big huge first day and then kind of sells off, and it takes a while to actually get back to those levels. Similar to what has happened. I'm just going to throw out because I remember this just happening. For example, Robinhood, that initially popped up on the first day, right? And then, started, even was the first few days, right? And then started selling off over a long period of time until they started giving good earnings and showing profitability and forward, profitability. And then it recovered and went up big. The other one is similar, it was ARM that, I remember this just because I was on vacation when it IPO'd. And so it popped up the first few days, right? And then it came back over the next few weeks, and then it started recovering, and eventually, went on a crazy run. But initially, right, it had a hard first few months. We could have a situation like that where we have this IPO that starts out really good first few days and then starts pulling back because of overzealousness and overpricing, and then maybe in that time frame money could potentially start coming back into the crypto market. Maybe people make profits because they bought, they got into the IPO or pre-IPO. Maybe they got shares pre-IPO at lower prices, and then institutions are usually the people that get that. And then if there's hype on the first few days, they take profit. And then maybe that comes back to the crypto market because they'll look at that opportunity now where we're getting closer and closer to the Clarity Act. We might have a situation where these firms are like, okay, crypto is down. Bitcoin is in the 60,000. It might be worth my risk. This is what institutions might be saying now to start nibbling at the crypto market, because if there is hype in the next few weeks and there is, excitement, and eventually the Clarity Act does pass, and that weight that has been weighing down the crypto market over these past 6 months is finally lifted ever since Coinbase came out, right, of the banking committee markup, then we'll see joy. So we might see a pre-buy. Interesting. But doesn't mean that the market can continue to pull back. We have to be ready for all these types of scenarios. We always have the monkey on my shoulder. I haven't found a name yet for the monkey. Mickey the monkey. So we'll find out what will happen here today with CPI. If it's already come out, let us know in the comment section so we know. I'll update in the pinned comment. Don't forget to check out BTCC if you are interested in trading the market. Again, you sign up, you get that first time deposit on your first deposit over $500, and you could get up to extra $10,000 bonus per user if you use my link. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.